coming to your little bit on your professional life also, right? As you said, and as we discussed, that you have worked in many profiles and done many jobs also, right? Also now doing entrepreneurship and you've been investing also. So what is your run us through your journey of working at so many companies. I believe 8, 9 or something, if I'm not wrong, roundabout, right? So what has been your journey, your professional journey from start till what you are doing today as an entrepreneur, right? Which we'll come to also. But give us a brief about your professional journey.
All right. So it's been a fairly long roller coaster ride.
23 years?
Yes.
Yes.
23 years, right? So I started out, as I said, I completed my PGDM from Symbiosis in 2000. And for next 8 years, I was essentially into PR, marketing and brand management, both from my agency side and as well as the corporate side, right? So I work with agencies like Perfect Relations, Vaishnavi, handling clients across multiple domains. And then I was working with Apollo Tires. And for about a year and a half was handling the entire brand management for them, right? The entire communication, advertising, media management for them. Then I got slightly bored of marketing and got the opportunity to work with a venture capital fund, which was into real estate, right? So totally shifted my gear from marketing to finance now, and I joined them as investor relations head. Came to Bombay from Delhi. This was in 2008.
Were you married then?
Yeah, I was married.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I did, I worked with 2 funds. One was this Indian REIT fund, which was into real estate, was involved in fundraising, investor communications. Then I joined Religare Venture Capital Fund, which again was a very different kind of a fund. It was India's first fund investing into media and films.
Wow.
Right. So I got excited because this was something new. So why don't I try myself out? So I got the opportunity to work with them as part of the investment team.
So this was a change from IR investor relations to a proper
fund.
investment team.
Yes, investment team.
Okay.
Right. So this fund journey at that point in time lasted for about 2.5 years.
The Religare one.
2010, mid of 2010, I again, because that was a time when startups were just coming up in India. And that was the time when Flipkart had got the first few checks.
Yeah.
Right. So there was a lot of entrepreneurial movement happening, and I thought because I was always tracking multiple trends, that was a time when crowdfunding as a trend was just coming out. Right. When people were saying that we do not have to just depend on few hands to raise money for entrepreneurs. They can also raise money from the community part. Right. And that really excited me because at that point in time, I think India just had about 500 or 600 odd investors which were investing into startups, and I thought that if India has to
angels, you mean?
Angels, right? If India has to kind of parallel the Silicon Valley story, you cannot just do with 500 or 600 angels, right? You need a lot more people in the whole ecosystem. And that's when I thought that if I can bring crowdfunding to India, we will have a lot more people given a chance to participate in that ecosystem, right? And to a large extent, it would democratize investments in startups.
Correct.
Right. So with that vision in mind, I contacted a Singapore-based crowdfunding platform, which was called Grow VC.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And then I talked to them and persuaded them to launch in India, right? So we formed an entity in the Indian market, and we kind of created a Grow VC India venture of it. Again,
you were leading that.
Yes, I was doing that. So in India, and again, I think it helped in perspective because, as I said, no one had heard about crowdfunding at that time. Even SEBI was not aware of it. And the fact that we had partnered with 2 Gora partners and we brought them to India, so media was quite happy to talk to them, because bahar se aaye hain, kuch naya concept leke aaye hain. So that also helped me with a lot of media visibility in that time, because they would have not listened to me, right? I'm a nobody. But these 2 Goras are there, so yeah, we'll go and talk to them, right? Even if they are not very scalable as such, yet. So that helped me to build some visibility out there. And then I also started talking to a lot of angel investors. So all the people like Anil Joshi, Saurabh Srivastava from Indian Angel Network, Patmaja, your founders of other investor angel networks, so they became friends and they understood this concept and they said, okay, fine, we'll come on board and maybe we can co-invest with you on this platform. But I ran this experiment for about a year and a half, and when I realized that maybe the idea of crowdfunding was beyond this time, right? Because startups as an asset class was very esoteric at that time. People didn't understand कि हम कहाँ invest कर रहे हैं, what is the risk portfolio, what will happen, exit कब मिलेगा. So while I was getting these angel networks, I was still not getting that common man walking on the road to come and join me, and that was the whole vision, right? I mean, my idea was not to work with angel networks. वो तो अपना कर ही रहे, they understand the business. But again, how will I increase the scope, right? So I decided to kind of take a break on there.
Okay.
And then for next year and a half, I worked with this gentleman called Pradeep Gupta, who was the founder of SEBI-registered.
Okay.
So SEBI-registered is a listed company. They are the ones who publish Data Quest, PC Quest, and other magazines.
Oh, okay.
Right. They also used to have a magazine called DARE, D-A-R-E.
Okay.
Which was India's first entrepreneurship-oriented printed magazine.
Okay. Right? But just before you continue, during this stint when you left Grow VC India, so was Grow VC still active in India? They had appointed someone else, or it had shut shop?
Yeah, shut shop.
Okay.
Right. I think they also changed the model globally after that.
Okay.
So I joined PG as editor of that magazine, DARE, and also helping him to mentor few of his investing companies and set up a startup accelerator. So that was so I worked with him for about a year and a half. But वो कहते हैं ना कि अगर आपको एक बार कीड़ा आ गया तो वो जाता नहीं है, तो वो क्राउडफंडिंग का कीड़ा was always there.
Investment का कीड़ा था.
तो वो था कि क्राउडफंडिंग तो लाना ही है. And I knew that I was not very happy with the outcome, what happened in the first year and a half. The journey was not complete, right? So I again get back into crowdfunding, and that was the time when I launched Catapooolt somewhere in 2013.
Okay.
Right, and this time the model was different. We were not getting into equity-based crowdfunding. We were looking into non-equity-based crowdfunding. Okay. Something which Kickstarter or Indiegogo were doing in the global markets, right? And we were looking at doing non-equity crowdfunding for very early stage startups, right? So that model picked up for about we did that for about 5 years.
Non-equity means what?
So basically, it's like if I am investing into, let's say, a product, I will not get equity in that product. I will get some rewards. So maybe I will get the product itself. I will be the first consumer of that product, right? Or I will get some related rewards around it. But I will not get my money back.
Okay, you will get a barter. It's like a barter.
It's like a barter. I mean, you give money, but the money will be invested in the product. But you will not get the money back. You will not get any returns. You will get some reward out of it. So you may become, let's say, I'm investing in a smartwatch, right?
You might become a consumer of it.
Correct. So you will get the first piece of the smartwatch whenever that's cut. So that becomes a more brand value. That becomes more a community or community impact on startups, right?
So you were creating a platform which would list multiple companies who could raise funds via this. At the same time, with that funds, they could do the production and give it to those people. Yes, that's
correct.
So it is. So I had, since you're talking about this, I had purchased an e-bicycle, electric bicycle through one platform. I forgot what was the name. It was based
in India only.
In India.
It must fuel my dream.
I guess.
Yeah, I think those guys were running a very good e-cycle campaign. I remember. It was a Bangalore-based platform.
Yeah, but the e-cycle manufacturer was in Kerala.
But the
platform was so I had purchased through that platform and it was a similar thing.
Yes.
They had run they are opening this batch for 50 investors. Those will be the purchasers basically. आप पैसा दोगे तो we'll prepare for you and send it to you. So I think that was the model. Okay.
So all these guys came almost a year or two after me. And
what was your platform called?
Catapooolt.
Catapooolt.
Yeah, so this was a Catapooolt with 3 O's. Okay, and people used to ask me why 3 O's. So I always used to tell them because 2 is crowd, but 3 is company. So that was the logic. I mean, the real reason was because we were not getting Catapooolt.com, so we made the story around that.
It helps.
Yeah, it helps. And so again, this was a very interesting 5-year-old journey. And we got a lot of investors. We raised funding for about 100 plus startups. Average size was not very large. I think about 5 lakhs per startup, not more than that. But it was an interesting journey. And then Times of India, through the Times Private Treaty model, they invested in us. We did massive offline events. I mean, so I'll tell you one interesting event. So we actually booked a cruise in Kolkata.
Wow.
and we took some angel investors and some independent people from Kolkata on a cruise. So we were on cruise for the whole night, and there were startups pitching, and there were people investing. Some we had given them some play money, not the actual money, just to let them understand what crowdfunding could be, right? And they were just playing, and they were just saying that, okay, I'm also an investor, and I will give 1,000 rupees. And they used to have those non-currency money, that paper money.
Business game.
Business money.
Monopoly.
So, but it was a very good, it was very nicely accepted when we got a lot of PR on this. That
But
this is a,
those investors who were playing with play money,
some of them came back and they invested. Yes.
मजा आया उनको.
Maja आया. They understood that this is how it works. This is how startups are. They were able to interact with those ideas, guys behind ideas. Right? And the event was also very widely covered in the press because it was one of the first startup pitch night on a cruise.
Wow.
So then interesting stuff. Got my exit in 2017 when a media company they had interest in further pursuing that idea, and they decided to buy over the business. After that, I
how much if I can ask you in terms of numbers, a range basically, how much return exit did you make?
Not much because I think it was more I think I also wanted to move out at that time because I wanted to try out new things, right? So I made a decent return. I mean in 2 digit numbers, percentages.
20
around,
to 30 or
yeah,
20 to 30
around that
range.
right?
Okay.